guys, I am here with 8-Bit Brigadier. That's how you say it, right?
Yes.
I legit went on YouTube and looked up pronunciation of Brigadier. But I don't want to... I'll bet you guys have seen plenty of singers do this where they record themselves singing several parts. Dan does it on flute, as well as other instruments.
I do. So
I thought it would be so great for him to come on this channel and talk about his relationship with music. Yeah? Sound good? So I think something that a lot of even your subscribers may not know, I think my subscribers, when they go to your channel, they would never know this either, but you didn't actually start on the flute, right?
Correct. So I actually started with the trumpet in, I think it was 4th grade. I still play the trumpet now. There was like a week whenever I was really sick, I think sometime my freshman year of high school, and my sister was away at college and she had played the flute whenever she was in high school. I was just home by myself because everyone was at work and I had nothing to do, and I like found her flute in her room and like those little like red like standard of excellence books, and I was like, okay, this could be fun. So I just started like, I figured out how to put it together, and I like messed around for like the first couple days trying to make noises, and then I was like, alright, jumping straight in, I'm gonna learn how to read music right now. And then I discovered the wonders that is flutetunes.com, and my life has never been the same.
I'll bet most of you guys have visited flutetunes.com. I have as
resource.
well.
And it helps you figure out what kind of music you like to play, because if you're like going in blindly like me, I'm like, I don't know who these composers are. I discovered that like I love playing Baroque music, and like Telemann is my jam.
Oh, yes! I am a Baroque girl too! Oh my gosh, yes!
The Fantasias were my jam whenever I was learning how to play technically.
So a lot of your beginning was self-taught then?
All of it has been self-taught.
Wow. For those of you who watched my David Eric Ramos interview, that's actually how I met 8-Bit Brigadier, over Facebook. Because David posted our collab video on his page, and then that's where you poked me. And I was like, oh hey, I like your stuff, let's collab. Looking at David's videos, he doesn't make it very obvious that he went to music school, and looking at your videos, you also don't make it very obvious you went to music school.
It was actually before going into high school, and like whenever I joined marching band and all of this other stuff, I remember I just like really didn't like playing the trumpet. I just like really hated it. I wanted to like not do it. And like my sister did 1 year of marching band, and then she quit because she was like, I know this is not what I want to do. And my mom was like, just do 1 year of marching band and then you're allowed to quit. That's like my one strict rule. I like kicked and screamed my way through like 8th grade like band. I remember like going to my first band camp thing, and I was like so unenthused about it, but then like walked away and like completely like restored my love for music. I remember there was one time that I was expressing to my mom how much I was just like not feeling the whole music thing, and then we have like little talks every once in a while, and it was kind of like one of those where she was just like, you know what, I really don't think that you should completely give it up because it's something that you're really, really good at. And I was just like, what? I've never been told that before. And it was like the first bit of like real and like musical encouragement, I guess, and then that kind of made me like really excited to get better.
Family support is huge.
Yes, I pointed at you, but I should be pointing at them.
Yes.
It was sometime in my junior year of high school. I was starting to get ready to like audition for schools the next year. Music was getting a little bit more stressful, and I used to go on YouTube all the time and just like watch videos, and I actually found my friend Michaela. Her username is Mklachu, and she does violin covers. Now she does otamatone covers too, which is crazy.
I love otamatone!
She is so good at it. It's like an instrument that has no business being played well, and she plays it well. I found her videos, and I was just like, whoa, this is so neat, and it's something that I could probably do. I think the first video I ever made was like a cover of Saria's theme that I made with 2 bassoons and 2 flutes.
You play bassoon too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that we're on the subject, how many instruments do you play?
At least on a high school level, proficient at like 23 instruments. Just because my band director would throw things at me and be like, we need someone to play this. And he like watched me like teach myself how to play the clarinet and the flute. So he was like, you're one of those. So, like, by my senior year, like, I was playing cello in the orchestra. I played piccolo on Stars and Stripes Forever 3 times. I played French horn for a musical. It was, like, a professional book, and I had never played French horn before, and he was just, like, figure it out. It doesn't mean that any of it was great, but
no,
I did it.
Yeah, you did it. That's sort of the musician life, you know? Like, that's real life, and you encountered it very early.
I had started taking trumpet lessons the summer going into my junior year of high school. Because I was taking trumpet lessons, I was like, yeah, well, I have somebody that can work with me on music and stuff, so I started taking part in, like, local festivals in like, the school districts. Having my YouTube channel and starting my YouTube channel and discovering that I really love recording and all of that stuff, I started looking for music programs or just, like, schools that offer, like, a sound recording or an audio engineering track. The university I go to now, Duquesne University, they have a music technology program, and one of the tracks that you can go down is sound recording concentration. And I was just like, yeah, well, I might as well just go for it. I still had to have my a major instrument, even though I wasn't a performance major. Something that's kind of weird about the sound recording degree track is that we pretty much fulfill the requirements of a performance major, except I think we have, like, 2 less piano classes. We're not required to take, like, an Alexander technique class and, like, all of this other stuff.
Right.
But, like, in terms of lessons, everything is pretty much the same, and, like, we still have to do a full hour senior recital and a half-hour junior recital. We're required to do a lot more performing than most of the other non-performance majors. My junior year of high school, like I said, I started doing festivals and everything. I got a really high chair in, like, my district's honors band, and then I ended up going all the way to all-state orchestra, which was, like, unbelievable to me because I had only started taking lessons less than 6 months ago, and I was, like, sitting, like, first trumpet at like an all-state event, which was, like, so weird, but I was just, like, kind of, like, riding on, like, a wind of, like, I don't even know, this is crazy. My senior year, I was so focused on auditions, I didn't really focus that much on festivals and all that stuff. And then, like, looking back at what I did my junior year, I was like, did I peak my junior year? I started having, like, a lot of, like, I'm a fraud, this is all a lie. I do all of my auditions, I make it into the schools that I wanted to make it into, I go to college, and I'm like, alright, restoring some faith. I started taking lessons with my old private teacher at Duquesne. He was very stern. He kind of reminded me a lot of my dad, so, like, it wasn't that scary. I was just like, whatever. It wasn't really, like, him that scared me. It was, like, the situation. It was, like, all my lessons were in a big auditorium, and I would be standing on a stage. There would be, like, a spotlight, and he would be, like, walking around in the background, and I would just wait for him to scream. Through my freshman and sophomore year, those were the 2 years that I had this private teacher. There were a lot of things that I realized that I had a lot of gaps in my trumpet education. My private teacher had, like, very big expectations. Like, my first semester, we got through all of the characteristic studies in the Arbin book. So that was every week I had a full characteristic study to learn. And I would have to come in the next week. He would listen to it, coach me through it if there were parts that I needed work on, and then we'd move on to the next one. So there are 15 weeks in a semester, and I got through 14 characteristic studies in a semester. And then whenever I came back, we started working on Charlier and Clark and all of this other stuff, and it was the same deal. It was one thing after the other. Towards the end of the semester, I was working on the etudes and I was working on my jury piece. I work well under a decent amount of pressure. It may not be the healthiest thing all the time, but I get it done. Towards the end of my sophomore year, I was starting to feel very much like a fraud again. I feel like none of this is real, and I feel like I'm being lied to, that, like, I'm actually passing these things. After going through almost, like, 50 etudes in less than 2 years, you just kind of, like, get drained.
Yeah.
Whenever your whole life is like, you're just like, I need to be spared for a moment. I need a minute. I was starting to retreat into doing other things. Like, I started rock climbing my sophomore year. I started playing the flute and taking it much more seriously because I was like, I need a serious but also creative outlet. It was bothering me that I wasn't enjoying the music that I was making. I was, like, throwing myself even further into flute land, where I'm just like, you are gonna play the flute and you're gonna like it. And I did. What I consider my first real piece of flute repertoire that I ever learned was probably Syrinx, right? Everybody that likes Baroque music likes the same things. It's like, if you love Baroque music, you like Baroque music and you like Impressionism, but nothing in between is really like incredible.
Yeah.
They just discovered a new Mozart flute concerto, and I'm just like, I don't need a third one. I didn't ask for this.
I heard about that.
Let him be.
When did you start posting these flute covers on YouTube?
I got really into it on a different channel that I don't talk about anymore. My senior year of high school, in like the summer going into my freshman year of college, is really whenever I feel like I started working on it more, and the quality of the videos were getting better, my flute playing was getting better. But in college, like my first 2 years, even now, I've always had 18 credits every semester, always a full workload. But I mean, like, I made time for it because like it was something that I felt like I had to. I've always tried to hold myself to one video a month at the bare minimum. Like, you have to do this for yourself. Take time and put it into something that you like doing. I wish I could be making videos weekly.
I completely understand. I think when I was in school, sometimes I would only post a video once every other month because of so much work. Music school, it's not for the faint of heart.
It's like, is my foot on fire?
You know that meme
dog?
where this is fine.
This is fine. And like things are falling.
Fire. Last thing I wanted to just kind of touch on. So 8-bit Brigadier, pretty obvious that you are a video gamer.
Yes.
When did you think of doing video game covers? Was that always a thing from the beginning?
It was. Whenever I discovered Michaela's channel, I think I was listening to like a playlist of the Wind Waker soundtrack, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. She had 2 videos. One was of her playing Makar's Prayer on the violin, and then the other one was Medley's Prayer, and I was just like, these are my 2 favorite songs from this soundtrack. I'm gonna play these on repeat forever. That's how I'd started doing YouTube more. I like to do anime covers every once in a while.
I'm into anime too. I haven't made it very obvious on my channel, but I am into anime too.
I know you like Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Actually, in some of my old videos that I filmed in my room, you can see a big Ouran High School Host Club wall scroll, and it's from the beach episode, and they're all shirtless.
Yes! There's always that beach episode. I'm really glad that you just fully embrace the video gamer geek life and just put it in with music. At least I have found that going into music school, at that time it was not cool to be a gamer, and it was not cool in classical music circles at all to even bring up the fact that you like video game music.
Right.
Now there's a much more acceptance because, you know, a lot of the big symphonies are doing like Final Fantasy and they're doing Zelda symphonies and stuff like that today.
The PSO actually just did, well, they've been incorporating the video game concerts a lot more into their pops concerts. All of my professors at Duquesne are all, for the most part, all PSO musicians. There's some of them that just like don't do pops concerts. They're like, I don't play popular music, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But the ones that do usually end up saying, like, I remember my private teacher was like, you know, I played the Symphony of the Goddesses concert, and that was some incredible music. And I was just like, I know. It's because Koji Kondo is incredible.
We're going off track here, but I don't care. There was an amazing live stream of the Final Fantasy 15. It was like an orchestral premiere or something that they live streamed from like London or something like that, and I think it's still on their channel. The composer was there and she was talking between pieces and talking about like, you know, what inspired her, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the best way to get people to really value orchestral music in the modern era.
Absolutely.
You know, I love to make people aware that they're listening to classical music all the time. You know, like when you're playing video games, a lot of it is actually orchestral. You know, like that's one of the reasons why people love the Final Fantasy music.
Super Mario Galaxy was like one of the first first party Nintendo IPs that like used a fully orchestrated score all the way through, and everybody's like, I'm like getting chills thinking about it because I'm such a nerd. If you ask anybody that has played those games, if you're like, which Mario game has the best soundtrack, the majority of the people you talk to will tell you Super Mario Galaxy, because it's unprecedented for all of those kinds of games, but they're fully fleshed out scores. The things that make me excited.
Yes, same.
And like video games with fully orchestrated scores. Wow.
Thank you so much for being on my channel.
Absolutely.
And just talking
Thank you
about
for
life.
having me.
We are going to be recording one of those video game covers on 8-Bit Brigadier's channel. You actually just sent me a test recording of it, and I'm just yes, you know?
This sounds so much better with real flutes. Because sometimes I'll like write things out, and then whenever I play it on a real instrument, I'm like, that sounds like poop. And other times it makes it 11 times better.
If you guys want to go and see that, head on over to his channel. We will have it linked in the bottom bar below as well. Please subscribe to 8-Bit Brigadier. If you guys like this video, make sure you give us a big thumbs up and hit subscribe to catch new videos every Saturday. My last video is over there, and if you guys want to catch me during the week, my social media networks are down there. But otherwise, we'll see you guys next week. Bye! Color correct. What I'm holding up right now is actually my Flute Center of New York invoice thing that comes with the flutes that they send me.